I want to give all praise and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Ha-Rekah, Kodash, double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule great millstone wow, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure into the end. Shalom, ba. This is Psalm 50, verse 1, a psalm of Asaph. The mighty power, even Yahawah, had spoken, and called the earth from the rising and of the sun unto the going down thereof. So he has his prophets on the earth, which Yahawah is putting his words in their mouth, which Yahawashi is the word of Yahawah. It says in 2 Ezra 15, verse 1, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people, his people are the Israelites, the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true, which we have the Holy Scriptures, which is the word of Yahawah, and they speak of Yahawashi. All right, and you can look it up. It's a historical fact that the first major press, let me pull it up on my tablet, the best way to say it. Bible first printed, showing you that we have a sure word of prophecy. So it says, Gutenberg Bible, the Gutenberg Bible, also known as the 42-line Bible, was the earliest major book printed in Europe using mass-produced metal movable type. It marked the start of the Gutenberg Revolution and the age of printed books in the West. The book is valued and revered for its high aesthetic and artistic qualities and its historical significance, showing you that this is prophecy. It's a sure word of prophecy. All these prophecies are going to come to pass, just like the scriptures going from a scroll to a book. All right. So it says in Psalm 50, verse 2, out of Zion, which are the Israelites, the perfection of beauty, power has shined, which we are that light. It says, you are the light of the world. Matthew 5, verse 14, ye are the light of the world, a city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Verse 16, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father through Yahawashi. Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi. Yahawah is the Father, Yahawashi is the Son, which is in heaven. Hebrews 1, verse 7. And of the angels he saith, who maketh his angels spirits, and his ministers flame of fire. Translation comparison. Regarding the angels, he says, he sends his angels like the winds, which is the spirit, his servants like flames of fire. All right. Now let's go back to Psalm 50. Ephesians 4, verse 12, it says, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Hamashiach, all right, which are the Israelites that believe in Yahawashi. Now going back to that Psalm 50, all right, out of verse 2, out of Zion, out of the Israelites, the perfection, the elect of beauty, power has shined, so they're going to radiate that light. Our power shall come and shall not keep silence, which were prophesying. A fire shall devour before him, and it shall be very tempestuous round about him. So when Yahawashi comes, nuclear missiles are going to fly. All right, judgment is going to take place. Verse 4, he shall call to the heavens from above and to the earth that he may judge his people. Which Yahawashi and the host of heaven is going to come down to earth and judge the world and gather my saints, which he's going to gather us into the chariot. Matthew 24, verse 31, and he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other, which is elect men are the ones he's going to save, but they're going to have Israelites joined to them, cleaving onto the house of Jacob. It says in Isaiah 14:1, for Yahawah will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, which were scattered throughout the world in slavery today. But he's going to send us back to our land, which is the land of Israel. And the strangers shall be joined with them, which are Israelites that don't recognize themselves on the sign, all right, because they may be amongst the heathen that are not on the sign, right? Because you got the 12 tribe sign. It says that the Israelites are the Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian of North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean, which we have this through prophecy, the spirit and testimony of Yahawah's Son returning, Yahawashi, that he would increase our knowledge. And through prophecy, we know that the Israelites fit the description of the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian like a glove, all right? It don't fit the so-called Caucasian. It don't fit no other race. But now you got Israelites amongst all these nations, all right? So they're strangers, but they're going to cleave to the house of Jacob. It says, and the strangers, which are Israelites, shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. So you got the Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian out there preaching, doing these videos, right? The Israelites. But you're going to have Israelites that look like so-called Caucasians, Israelites that look Asian, Israelites that look African, Israelites that look East Indian, all right? And they're strangers, but they're going to be able to cleave to the house of Jacob because they're Israelites, all right? And he's going to bring us back to our land, and we're going to have these other nations as our slaves. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land for Yahawah for servants, the land of Yahawah for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressor. Which, let's go back to Psalm 50. All right. It says, verse 5, gather my saints together unto me, those that made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And the heavens shall declare his righteousness through the internet, for power is judge himself, Selah. Hear, O my people, and I will speak, O Israel, and I will testify against thee. I am power, Yahawah, even thy power. I will not reprove thee for thy sacrifices or thy burnt offerings to have been continually before me. I will not take, it says, I will take no bullock out of thy house, nor he-goats out of thy folds, which we used to do animal sacrifices in the land of Jerusalem. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, which he didn't eat the sacrifices, the priest did. If I were hungry, I would not tell thee, for the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. Will I eat the flesh of bulls, or drink the blood of goats? Which he does not. Offer unto Yahawah through Yahawashi thanksgiving, and pay thy vows unto the Most High. So be honest and keep thy word, and call upon me in the day of trouble. You got to call upon Yahawah and his son Yahawashi. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me, which you got to be an Israelite, because only Israelites could glorify Yahweh Hashem Yahawashi. But unto the wicked, Yahweh Hashem Yahawashi saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hateth instruction, and casteth my words behind thee? Which the Israelite that is wicked in America, they're living exactly like this. They don't want to hear it. They say, move. Even 50 Cent, I was thinking about it. Because, sometimes we listen to songs that we might like, in the world for entertainment purposes. But then you hear the foolishness of these men that, they rap or whatever. That's why I like instrumentals and classicals and things like that. But I remember 50 Cent, he said, the preacher man, if the preacher man come, I don't want to hear what you say. And then in another song, he says, I look up to the sky to pray to the Lord, but he doesn't answer me. Not realizing that the Israelite, speaks to the Lord through the prophet. But you have false prophets out here. So the Lord's going to destroy the false prophet so that the true prophet could shine. Which the wicked of our people are going to be destroyed with the wicked, which is the so-called Caucasian, which made all kinds of different versions of the Bible, right? They don't want the truth. They want lies. So the Lord's going to destroy the wicked and them that do wickedly, including 2/3 of the nation of Israel that's in America. It says, when thou sawest a thief, then thou consenteth with him, and has been partaker with adulterers. Hey, that was a good example with Alazar, the leader of Sakari. When he came out doing all kinds of abominations, right? Sodomite acts, right? The majority of these Jake were defending him for sticking rubber ding-dongs up his butt. And they got mad at the prophets, which rebuked him, starting with the apostles that ruled well, that taught us the truth, that ruled Great Millstone, So the majority of the Israelites have to die because they're wicked, They don't care for the ways of the Lord. So Proverbs, what is it? Proverbs 1, verse, I'll just get to the point. It says in verse 24, because I have called and ye refused, I stretched out my hand and no man regarded. He stretched out his hand to his prophets, but ye have sat at not all my counsel, and with none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. Because pretty much you're going to be in that lake of fire. Matthew 5, verse 11, and thou mourn at the last, when thy flesh and thy body are consumed in the nuclear destruction, which America is going to be turned into a lake of fire, and say, how have I hated instruction? My heart despised reproof, which is the Israelite that didn't believe, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ear to them that instructed me. Because you're going to be in that lake of fire with the devil, which his angels, his military is going to be destroyed by fire also. Matthew 25, verse 40. It says, and the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me, because we are his body, he is our head. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed. You're cursed because you don't believe into everlasting fire prepared for the devil, the so-called white man, and his angels, his military, which the Israelite it wasn't supposed to really drink of this cup, but because of their unfaithfulness, they're going to die in their unfaithfulness. All right? But the elect, all right, we're going to call upon Yahawah Hashem Yahawashi and be delivered in front of our enemies. All right? So it says, I just want to get down. I guess we got about, a couple more. It says 19, verse 19 of Psalm 50, Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son, which they went in the way of Edom. Edom, the so-called Caucasian, is the twin brother to Jacob, and his whole entire existence has been him trying to kill Jacob. These things hast thou done, and I keep silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself, but I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes. Now consider this, ye that forget Yahawah and his son Yahawashi, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver. It says, in the translation comparison, NLT, repent, so that he's talking to the Israelites that went in the way of Cain. Repent, all of you who forget me, or I will tear you apart and no one will help you. See? And that's what's going to happen to the 2/3. They're going to be burnt down to the element. All right? But they're going to come back through the loins of the elect as children in the kingdom of heaven. Now I'm going to read the next verse in the NLT, which first I'll read the KJV, Psalm 50, verse 23. It says, Whoso offereth praise glorifieth me, and to him that ordereth his conversation aright will I show the salvation of Yahawah Hashem Yahawashi. NLT version, but giving thanks is a sacrifice that truly honors me. If you keep to my path, I will reveal you the salvation of Yahawah, which our salvation is Yahawashi. Right? So that salvation of Yahawah is with Yahawashi for us. Alright? Because Yahawashi is our deliverer. But with that, I give all praise and glory to Yahawah Bahasham, Yahawashi Bahasham Ha-Rikakudash. Double honors to our apostle elders, which rule great millstone Wa, and shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel Wa Ba Ba Ba.